surrounding that one strip of land.
Tell me some of the things that you see.
Well, this morning I had a really fresh vision from the Lord. It was so clear. I was waking up at 2 a.m. and again at 6 a.m. and I said to the Lord, what's on your heart? What? I was just asking generally. And the Lord was weeping. I felt him weeping over Jerusalem. And you know that scripture came to mind. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, if I should forget thee, let my right hand lose its cunning. Let my tongue cleave to the roof of its mouth. There was such a dry mouth weeping and lamentation over Jerusalem. But I saw the Lord then transition me in this vision, and he was on the mountains of Afghanistan. And in this vision, he had binoculars in his hand. He was scouting a ready mountain Afghani army that were an offensive. And then I looked in, and this army had moved from the mountains of Afghanistan into the mountains of the United States. I saw Australia. I saw different parts of America very clearly. It was so clear that the Lord was just lifting them off this morning to me one by one. And the Spirit of God said that this was going to move from being a conversation about Hezbollah, Hamas, and you're going to see Al-Qaeda and Afghanistan getting involved. People were going to blame President Biden for the terrible atrocities of fleeing Afghanistan at that time. I heard the words, beware the sleeper cells of nations are being activated. Be on alert, 911. And it was Psalm 91 verse 1, because your enemy has come to exact vengeance on the nation. And it was not just, now it wasn't just Hamas, Hezbollah, it was Al-Qaeda, it was Afghanistan. And we were talking about people were talking about an already defeated enemy raising its head again, but it was always there. It was just sleeping in the different nations. I saw very specific attacks in very specific places. I saw attacks in parts of New York, praying for this morning Manhattan. I was praying for Arizona. I was praying for London, North London. I was praying for Chicago. And I saw them say, we cannot drop bombs on them. We have no planes, but we are the bombs and we can drop inside of them. And I saw places, I'm from London, so I was now standing in the London Met in Scotland Yard, and they were developing strategies to uncover hidden cells, hidden bomb-making units throughout London through listening to web chatter. But it wasn't enough because there was no more communication through mainstream applications. I saw apps that were created that were encrypted on both ends, and it became the duty of these people in the Scotland Yard and London Met to infiltrate these new applications. And the Lord said that this will have a double-edged effect, just like we saw in the US, the creation of the TSA. He said this will accelerate not only the attacks upon America and the West, but it will accelerate the death of privacy. I saw a new war being fought on privacy. What can we give away? What can we withhold? And then I saw arising in 2024, a decade, the Lord called it the decade of the boundary wars. And these wars were being fought by proxy, by militia, but they were being fought by the face of different countries. And they were fighting over territory. It wasn't just in the Middle East anymore. It was now China and the South China Sea. It was Russia and Ukraine, which wasn't going to go away anytime soon. But everybody was fighting their own boundary wars. I saw India fighting its boundary wars. I saw different nations contesting for boundary and territory and reclaiming lost territory. And I also love what he's doing. And the Lord said, I am resetting the boundary lines of nations again across this decade. And people were fighting land, sea, and air wars over boundaries. And then interestingly, I saw the former president or prime minister, Ahmadinejad, and he was hiding behind the curtain as if to say he had taken on some kind of godfather role, that there was a stirring up of something with him. And I saw a reignition of an Afghani poppy trade that was going to be utilized to fund back channel projects to raise millions for terror war. And all of this came in a flash from about 2 and 6 a.m.
I want to take you back to some visions